Welcome to today's demonstration where I'll be taking you through the Knowledge Capture Online Claims Management module. This module features out-the-box claims management processes that enables organisations to manage the claims process within their business, no matter the source of data. The Knowledge Capture Online Claims Management module utilises Integrity's Advanced Case Manager in order to compliantly and efficiently process claims all the way through to resolution. The first screen that you can see here is the case search screen, where a queue of cases have been brought back that are currently active within the system. Anything in red means it's exceeded an SLA deadline and needs urgent attention. Anything in white means that it's currently well within its SLA, so it might be a new case or it's being processed correctly. We also have an amber colour, which means that a case is approaching a deadline and needs attention. If a case has a lock icon on, like the one selected, it means it's currently being used by another agent within the system. This case will appear as read-only to myself, which means I can view the progress, but I cannot make any changes myself. This avoids duplications and ensures that only one agent is working on a case at the same time. I'm going to focus on this case for today's demonstration. And now that it's loaded, within the case detail screen, we can see 4 distinct areas. In the top left, we have the case details, and we can see we have a claim number. We've also got a policy number associated to this individual. We understand what their policy type is and any client numbers that they have. At this stage, we can also do database lookups to understand the client details. So in this case, it's John Smith of the 26th Drive in Southampton. And we can also bring back other information such as contact details with an email address and a telephone number. These details can be used when a new case is brought into the system, and you can check to see if the customer has a valid policy, and also their coverage type. Within the Policies tab, we can see exactly what's associated to this individual, so they have their car insurance and home contents insurance currently with this organisation. Within the General tab, we can also have deadline dates, SLA dates, and understand what queue this case is currently involved in. In the middle, we have documents associated to this case. We have an initial claim form here, and we've also been sent a photograph of the car as well. At the bottom, we also have case notes, and this is where a free text form can be filled out by an agent to give some extra information around the case, or we can have predefined case notes that enable an agent to put an update into the case quickly and efficiently as the case progresses. On the right hand side, we also have the document viewer, and we have the capabilities to add sticky notes, highlights, and also annotations to any of the documents contained within the case, and these will then follow the case all the way through to resolution. The key component that drives a case is a checklist. A checklist is a defined business process that enables an agent to process a case through to resolution in a compliant manner. The first steps are to check to see if there's a valid policy, and if the insurance claim form has been completed correctly. We can also check to see if the client has claimed within the last 6 months. If they have, this case may be routed through to the fraud queue to ensure there's no fraudulent activity taking place. Now, checklist item number 5, does the car require repair? Looking at the photo, I would say it does, and I can then update this checklist. The system then asks me to get in contact with the customer to ask for a quote from a garage to understand the cost of repairs. I can then suspend this case, meaning that the SLA deadlines will not be breached whilst waiting for the customer to provide us with more information. In this example, the customer has been kind enough to provide us with the quote already, so I'm going to update this, and I'm also going to attach the quote to the case. I have a copy of the car require quote on my local machine, and I can simply drag and drop this into the case, index it as motor insurance claim, and the new document is added into the system. The next step is to check to see if the quote is over 10,000, and we can see here in the bottom right that the quote itself is 14,400. Therefore, if I select yes and update, this case is then automatically closed from my view and sent to a manager for approval. This means I can be freed up to work on the next case that needs to be processed within the system. I've now logged into the system as a manager and opened up the case that I was just working on. And at the top, the view has now changed. I now have the option to approve, edit or reject this case based on my privileges. I can check in the audit trail to see the history of the case so far, to understand who's worked on the case and why it's been sent through to my queue. I can also look at the case documents, and in this case see that the claim is over 10,000 and therefore needs my action before it can be resolved. By looking at the value of the car and the damage that's actually been done to it, I can now make a decision as to whether or not I want to approve or reject this case. As the repairs are going to cost more than what the car is worth, I can reject this case. And in this screen I can input a reason, and clicking OK will then close this case off from my view and send it back to the general population queue. Back in my agent view, I now have a new case note from the manager, and we can see here that the claim has been rejected and that repairs are worth more than the car. At this stage, I can now start to process this case through to resolution by clicking Claim, Yes, Rejected, and the checklist then asks me to send a decline letter back to the customer. Within this case view, we can select on the letter, New Letter. In this case, I'm going to select the decline letter, index it within the system, and this is where the KC Online Claims Management solution is fully integrated with Microsoft Office, and it's now opened up Word, ready for me to create this letter and send out to the customer. Within the template, we've picked up the information based on the customer from within the case. We've included their policy number and their claim reference number, and we also have the option here to select predefined paragraphs. Now, using this integration, we have an option in the ribbon on MS Word to add a paragraph into the system. And at this time, I'm going to add in the car is a write-off and the fact that the value of the car is less than the garage quotation. I can now do some small formatting changes, and at this time, I can do a number of different things. I can save this document back into Case Manager, or I can send it to a print queue, ready to be sent on to the customer as soon as possible. In this case, I'm going to save it back to Advanced Case Manager, and we can now see that the document has been PDF'd and loaded into the system. I can now update the next step on the checklist, and as this case has been declined, I can look to close this case off as the customer has now been sent a letter as well. Within the KC Online Claims module, we also have the ability to monitor the queues, where we can understand the depth and the bandwidth of current queues within the system, where you may have multiple departments working on different types of claims. So within an insurance organisation, you may have home insurance, motor insurance, life insurance, and you can monitor how well these queues are actually coping with the demand. If need be, you can reallocate resource to help out in other areas of the business that are currently struggling. By clicking on Close Case, I can add closure codes that will help for reporting purposes. And once I've closed it down, I can then use the Fetch Next capabilities within the system that will give me the next case that needs to be worked on as a matter of priority. Thank you for watching today's KC Online Claims Management demonstration, where I've covered off the out-the-box processes and capabilities that are available within this module. If you'd like further information, please visit kc-ol.com/claims-management.php or email sales@integrity.com. Thank you very much for your time.